Chairwoman Ling Si, the daughter of the Dingzhuang Corporation, was on her way to the home of her rumored boyfriend when she was surrounded by many reporters who were trying to film her and demand interviews. 2 weeks ago, Ling Si had begun announcing that she would acquire everything in every industry. This news quickly reached the ears of the Future Corporation, which was also Dingzhuang's rival. While the board of directors was discussing business, they received a call from Cheng Su. The person who held a large portion of the corporation's shares would be returning to the country in a few days. Ling Si was heading straight to her rival's corporation. Being in a hurry, she walked very quickly and unexpectedly. A little boy fell in the road by himself, so she was wrongly blamed. The boy's mother didn't even hear her explanation and smashed Ling Si's phone. Immediately, Cheng Su was chivalrous and lent her his phone to continue on her way. Ling Si thanked him and said that she would see him again at a suitable time. As soon as she left, Cheng Su's secretary came to pick him up. Back at the Dingzhuang Corporation, they were developing rapidly. Chairman Jiang, the person who held the highest position in the Future Corporation, he was discussing business with his subordinates when Ling Si unexpectedly came to meet him to discuss a partnership. She went straight to the point, saying that she would cooperate with the Future Corporation, which greatly surprised him. Seeing that he was not yet convinced, Ling Si offered a condition: she would get engaged to Cheng Su within the next 3 months. That won Chairman Jiang's trust. At the same time, Cheng Su had returned to the corporation. No one knew him, and they thought he was a new intern. They gossiped and spread bad rumors about him. As soon as the elevator doors opened, he met Chairman Jiang's son again. The familiarity between the two brothers after many years made the two uncles standing next to them realize that this was the heir to the corporation, Cheng Su. Right after that, Cheng Su went to meet Chairman Jiang. At first, he didn't even recognize him because it had been so long since they had seen each other. After a short talk, Chairman Jiang urged him to quickly take the position of chairman. At this time, Chairman Gu, Ling Si's father, was playing mahjong with his subordinates. Seeing his daughter come back, he immediately called Ling Si to discuss the partnership with the Future Corporation. Chairman Gu was very angry, but after hearing his daughter's explanation, he felt quite agreeable. It was part of the plan to take over the rival corporation. Ling Si, even though she didn't want it to happen, still had to listen to her father. After the departure of the old secretary, Ling Si was assigned a new secretary, but she showed no interest in him and didn't think much of him. While she was walking outside, she noticed that she was being followed, and she realized that it was the reporter's car. Immediately, she told her secretary to drive to Cheng Su's house. Meanwhile, Cheng Su was talking with his two subordinates when he heard a commotion outside. He ran out to see what was going on and saw Ling Si surrounded by reporters. It was very tense, and he thought that she had come to return the phone she had borrowed the other day. But as soon as she entered the living room, Ling Si took out her phone to take a picture with Cheng Su. But he was cautious and pushed her out because he had a girlfriend, who was Ling Si. Cheng Su had no idea that the girl in front of him was the rumored girlfriend he had never met. She still pretended not to know and said that she would help him just as well as his girlfriend could. But when he found out that this was the real Ling Si standing in front of him, he was completely shocked. Immediately, Cheng Su made an excuse to go to the restroom to avoid the embarrassment, but she pulled him back and took a picture, which she posted on social media. She said that she would stay the night because she couldn't handle the reporters outside. Right after that, Cheng Su called his brother, who was Chairman Jiang's son, to talk about Ling Si staying the night. Jiang Han jokingly called him a little bird who had been defeated by Ling Si's attraction. He was talking so enthusiastically that he didn't realize that she had entered the room unnoticed, making him embarrassed. Outside, the reporters who worked for the powerful boss were still waiting outside to update information about Ling Si. Zemo, after seeing the post, was extremely angry and smashed his computer screen. When both of them were talking, Cheng Su forgot to button up his shirt, revealing his toned muscles, which attracted Ling Si. While grabbing the towel because she wasn't paying attention, she slipped and they fell into the pool, sharing a passionate kiss. The next morning, Cheng Su prepared a thoughtful breakfast for Ling Si and went upstairs to find her. He thought that she had left early, but when he opened the curtains, he was surprised to see that she was standing behind them. Ling Si changed her clothes and asked Cheng Su if her outfit looked nice. The young man had just met her for the first time and shyly said that she looked nice. She reminded him to eat the breakfast he had prepared. Right after that, she left, but she didn't forget to tell him to forget about last night. On the other side, Zemo was planning to make Chang Su disappear from Ling Xi's life forever. Moving to the company, everyone was preparing to enter the meeting when they were suddenly notified that Chang Su would be joining the meeting. Immediately after that, Chairman Jiang spoke, saying that before Chang Su's father passed away, he had entrusted his only son to him. Now the time had come, and Chairman Jiang announced that from today on, Chang Su would be the chairman of the corporation. Right after hearing the news that Chang Su had been promoted to chairman, Ling Xi's father told his daughter to bring Chang Su to see him. Ling Xi agreed and told her father that she wanted to meet her biological mother in the next few days. After Ling Xi left, her stepmother slandered Ling Xi. Ling Xi took her high-powered motorcycle and sped straight to the company to pick up Chang Su. On the way, she accidentally ran into Zemo, who was preparing for his plan, and he stammered an explanation. On the other side, Chang Su and Jiang Han were discussing a project, but it wasn't showing much promise. When they returned to the company, Chairman Jiang also opposed it and told Jiang Han not to get involved in this project. Even though the whole world had turned its back on Chang Su, Jiang Han still supported him. Down in the lobby, Ling Xi waited for him and took him on her high-powered motorcycle straight to the mall to buy him new clothes to meet her father that night. After choosing 9 times, Ling Xi finally liked an outfit. In the evening, Chang Su arrived and immediately faced Ling Xi's stepmother. At first, he thought she was Ling Xi's biological mother, but she wasn't. Then he thought she was the housekeeper and even complimented her on her cooking. After hearing her speak, he realized that she was Ling Xi's stepmother. Immediately after that was the appearance of Ling Xi's stepsister, who had a very rude attitude. The two sisters had disliked each other since they were little, so there was a bit of conflict. The quarrel only ended when Chairman Gu appeared. As soon as he met Chang Su, he acknowledged that he had been very close to his father. Even if the whole world turned its back on Chang Su, he would still help him with the Mulin Town project. Meanwhile, Zemo was still outside, preparing for his plan to ruin the two's date. After the meal, Chairman Gu talked to his secretary, making fun of Ling Xi's mother, who was still being treated for her illness in the hospital. Outside in the hallway, Ling Xi accidentally walked by and overheard the conversation, and was unexpectedly caught by her stepsister. She spoke loudly, causing Chairman Gu to notice Ling Xi. He was angry that his daughter didn't listen to him. He was about to hit her, but Chang Su stopped him. After that, Ling Xi thanked Chang Su for his actions. Under the romantic fireworks that Zemo had prepared, she made a date with him to go to Mulin Town tomorrow. Back at the corporation, 2 talentless young men presented a new idea, but they didn't receive any attention from Chairman Jiang and Chang Su because it wasn't very efficient. Downstairs, the 2 young men met Ling Xi. They tried to convince her to join their project, but she introduced them to her father instead. After that, she and Chang Su went to Mulin Town as they had agreed the night before. Meanwhile, the 2 talentless young men had secretly gone to Chairman Gu to present their project. Instead, they received a lecture about life. In the business world, you have to take risks. If you take big risks, you get big rewards. If you don't, you get little. However, he actually liked the project of these 2 shameless guys. At this time, Chang Su and Ling Xi had arrived in Mulin Town, a place with peaceful scenery and hospitable people. Even a little girl was very astute, introducing the handicrafts that were made by the local artisans. Chang Su's explanation of the local culture made Chairwoman Ling Xi very interested. Going deeper inside, the 3 met Su Nian, who was Chang Su's younger sibling, whom he hadn't seen in a long time. The girl was extremely surprised that her brother had brought his girlfriend to visit their village. Ri Shen was completing the final touches on her drawing of Zemo. Afterward, she took it to show her father and asked him to point out any mistakes that she needed to fix in her painting. Then, her mother also came to see her daughter's work and helped her choose the one that she liked best. While he was talking to Ri Shen, his subordinate reported that Chang Su had returned to the country. On the other side, Chairman Ming, together with Ling Xi and her secretary, found Su Nian's house and were reunited with their uncle. After not seeing each other for a long time, his uncle hit him 3 times for not coming back to the country for so long without leaving any information. After that, the 3 of them sat down and talked and asked about the architectural buildings in the project that his father had completed before. When he found out that those houses were still usable, the 2 of them went into the forest to find the bamboo houses. On the way, they encountered Zemo, their rival, who was also surveying the land that Chairman Ming was developing there. The two of them exchanged a memorable handshake that made Cheng Su feel numb. The handshake only stopped when Ling Si intervened. The deeper they went into the forest, the more deserted and dangerous it became because of the boulders blocking their path. Cheng Su used this opportunity to tell her that the forest had some very scary legends, but just a glance made their eyes meet, and they just wanted to look at each other for a long time. After going more than halfway, Cheng Su discovered an employee card from the rival corporation, which made him suspicious, so they turned back. On their side, Jiang Han was visiting his mother's grave when he unexpectedly saw the two shameless guys talking with Ling Si's secretary. He knew that the two men intended to partner with the Dingzhuang Corporation to benefit themselves, but he kept it to himself. It was already dark, and Cheng Su and Ling Si still hadn't returned, which made everyone worried. Secretary Jin was forced to go look for the two of them, but they met halfway. Boss Yi told Secretary Jin to take Ling Si back first, while he would follow behind. When he got back to the corporation, he retold the story about the employee card he had found, which belonged to someone from the Lingzhuang Corporation, who had come to survey the Shizi Shui construction. Ling Si had returned home, and was given the task of winning the bid for Chairman Ming's painting tomorrow morning, because it was his last painting. Meanwhile, Jiang Han went to Cheng Su's house and brought him food and showed him a lot of care. After that, he received a question from Cheng Su about the Mingri Entertainment Corporation because of his encounter with Zimo in Muline Town that morning. The next morning, both Ling Si and Cheng Su went to the auction. Ling Si's people bid a very high price, up to 10 million yuan. But Cheng Su only bid 50 yuan, which caused a lot of controversy and drew attention to him. After buying the painting, he went to the Mingri Corporation to meet Boss Min to discuss the painting. As soon as he arrived, Cheng Su brought up the issue of Muline Town. But Boss Min was more interested in the fact that he had bid only 50 yuan for his painting. At this time, Boss Min's younger sibling had returned to the country. As soon as she got out of the car, she met Zimo. When she asked him out of curiosity, she found out that it was a gift that Zimo had prepared for Ling Si. Immediately, she punched him hard. Upstairs, Boss Min and Cheng Su were discussing the project in Muline Town, hoping to partner with each other. But Cheng Su was rejected. As he was about to leave, he met Boss Min's younger sibling. She offered to help him, but on the condition that tonight, on Ling Si's birthday, he had to prepare a lavish meal for her. Back home, because she had not won the bid for the painting as her father had expected, Ling Si was criticized and locked in the dark room for reflection. That was the scariest thing that haunted her. Fortunately, thanks to old Secretary Fu, he was able to call Cheng Su to save her. Immediately, he sped away on his supercar and rescued Ling Si like a hero, taking her straight to his house, ignoring the useless security guards' attempts to stop him. Meanwhile, on their side, Zimo was preparing everything very carefully and thoughtfully. But he didn't know that Ling Si was with Cheng Su, enjoying a romantic candlelit dinner. Ling Si had just posted a picture of her birthday celebration with Cheng Su. When Zimo found out, his heart was broken. Right then, Rishin was already waiting outside and soothed his pain. Meanwhile, Ling Si was trying the dishes that Cheng Su had made with his own hands, but unfortunately, she ate some seafood that she was allergic to. Immediately, she called her personal doctor to come to Cheng Su's house because she was worried about her safety. Cheng Su called his secretary to come quickly, but if they waited for his secretary to arrive, it would be very dangerous for her life. Both of them had to get into a truck temporarily. Cheng Su sat in the back and called Ling Si, telling her that the meal was Rishin's suggestion. But she wasn't upset and said that he would need to cook for her a lot in the future. When they arrived at the hospital, her condition had stabilized, but in her mind, she kept thinking about the happy memories she had with her mother. Chairman Gu, upon hearing that his daughter was in another hospital, was very angry and ordered his henchmen to pick up Ling Si. As soon as he finished speaking, the two shameless men, Chang Feng and Pai Ling, came to find Chairman Gu, wanting to discuss their project. The project was illogical, which made him furious, and he almost threw a book at their heads. In his hand, he already had a video of Chang Feng and Pai Ling discussing work at his house. It was a binding force that forced the two of them to work for him. On their side, Zimo and boss Rishin were on their way to the hospital to visit Ling Si. While he was dozing, the doctor came in and said that Ling Si's current condition was stable, but she still had a high fever and needed him to stay to take care of her. He willingly took care of her, but then the people of Chairman Gu who was also her secretary, came to demand that she be taken back, but they were stopped by Chung Su. The two sides became tense, and they almost clashed, but they were forced to leave empty-handed due to Chung Su's determination. At the same time, Zemo and boss Ri Shin had just arrived, but they both decided to leave and not visit Ling Si. Back home, because Chang Su had completed the task that boss Ri Shin had given him, she introduced the Mulan Town project. Even though he had done it very quickly and excellently, he was not approved because he had to dismantle part of the town's architecture. At the same time, he received a message from Ri Shin saying that she had found a new investor for him. That made him unable to hide his joy, and he made a date to meet Chairman Chiang the next morning. The next morning, he arrived at the location as agreed. Before he could find Chairman Chiang, he was lured by a multi-level marketing scheme. They lured him in to listen to their teachings, which delayed the meeting. As soon as he sat down, he found the fake Chiang lecturing everyone about how to make money through luring others. If you want to get rich, then give me your land deeds to invest in the Mulan project. Suddenly, Chung Su was given the microphone to speak. After introducing himself as Chung Su, everyone was impressed. When the fake Chiang knew his target, he immediately ordered the loudmouth to take him to the fraudster's office. They forced him to sign a contract to take Chang Su's 5 million yuan. In a moment that seemed like despair, as he was being forced into a corner, Ling Si appeared like a god and saved him. The fraudster was severely beaten until he was disoriented, just as they met the real Chairman Chiang. Immediately, the two of them sat down to discuss the project in Mulan Town. Even though Chang Su gave a very detailed and compelling presentation, he still hadn't really captured Chairman Chiang's attention. This was because the return on investment for this project was still not very high. However, Chairman Chiang still gave him a chance. Within one day, he had to complete a design of Zhongnan Town, as he had suggested. Back home, Ling Si saw that the floor was covered in pieces of paper from Chung Su's failed designs. She went in to comfort him and give him a mental boost, as well as help him complete the design. Thanks to having Ling Si by his side and his own talent, the design was a success beyond their expectations. That pleased Chairman Chiang, and he didn't hide it any longer. He was Ming Chiang, Ri Shin's and Tianyin's father, and also a friend of Nan Xuan, who was Chang Su's father. He said that he had a similar personality and talent as his deceased father. Immediately, he agreed and said that he would help him with the Mulan Town project. Back home, the three of them celebrated the successful partnership and got very drunk. Chang Su, having low alcohol tolerance, got drunk and was taken to the room by Ling Si. After putting him in the room, she saw that her people were searching for things, but she had discovered them. Back at her house, Chairman Gu's subordinates reported that they had only found Nan Chuan's seal. They still couldn't find his old designs that he had left behind before he passed away at the Future Corporation. Everyone was discussing the Mulan Town project, but Chang Su was met with opposition from Cheng Feng and Pai Ling. Uncle Jing only told him to be careful and gave him the authority to make his own decisions on all matters regarding the Mulan Town project. Ling Si was visiting her mother when an elderly man said that he was her mother's main doctor. He told her that she needed to come and visit her mother more often. As soon as he finished speaking, the real doctor pulled him away to the room. The two mothers and daughters talked to each other a lot. She kept asking where Ling Si's father was and why he didn't come to visit with her. She tried to hide her sadness and said that her father was busy with work. When he was done, he would come to visit her soon. Cheng Su was walking through the company lobby when he unexpectedly met Su Nian. It turned out that she had passed the interview and had been accepted to work at the company. When he got to Chairman Jiang's office, he still tried to persuade him about the Mulan Town project, but he flatly refused, and he said that in the future, whether it was a success or failure, Cheng Su would have to take responsibility himself. He wouldn't help him in any way. Cheng Su had no choice but to leave silently. After visiting her mother, Ling Si received a call from Cheng Su, inviting her to go out to eat. Immediately, she stole the doctor's car and drove straight to the company to pick up Cheng Su. At the company, Zhang Han, just getting off work, met Cheng Feng, who was trying to persuade him to go to dinner to talk, but he refused. However, after mentioning that it was related to the truth about his mother's death, Jiang Han decided to go to dinner with him. On their side, Ling Si and Cheng Su were enjoying their meal and telling each other intimate and affectionate stories. She said, "I only want you to love me, and I don't want anyone to stare at you." She was jealous of the girls around Cheng Su. Unexpectedly, a drunkard came out of nowhere, forcing the security guards to stop him. Taking that opportunity, the two of them ran quickly to escape. In the end, they found a simple eatery by the side of the road. At the same time, the security guards had caught up, but the place was crowded, and they couldn't hear what the two of them were saying. To check, Chung Su stood far away and said, "I like you." As soon as he said it, he got burned. Ling Si was worried about him and urged him to go home quickly and apply some medicine. On their side, Cheng Feng and Pai Ling were bad-mouthing Cheng Su to the father and son. Cheng Feng told Jiang Han that the cause of his mother's death that year was because of Nan Chuan. During the construction of the aerial garden project, it had collapsed, causing his mother to die. He also said that no matter how hard he tried, he wouldn't get any recognition. On the other side, Pai Ling was bad-mouthing Cheng Su, but he was dismissed by Chairman Jiang, which made him angry as he left with nothing. The wound on Cheng Su's hand was swollen, but it was okay because he had Ling Si by his side to take care of him. Cheng Su discussed that the issue of Mulang Town needed to be advertised so that more people would know, and for that, they needed the Mingri Entertainment Corporation and Zimo. However, the two of them were currently rivals. Zimo also held a portion of the company's shares, not just as a subordinate of the chairman. To help Cheng Su, Ling Si personally met Zimo. She extinguished his hopes and said that she already had Cheng Su. He needed to help Cheng Su because it would also be beneficial to him. Ling Si also didn't forget to thank him for the care he had shown her during the past time. On their side, the bald man gave Chairman Gu a contract that had a fake seal of Nan Chuan. Chairman Gu and Chairman Jiang had the opportunity to meet again and talk after a long time of not seeing each other. Jiang Han went to the boat to meet the secretary to look at the contract guaranteeing responsibility for the construction of the aerial garden. Seeing Nan Chuan's seal inside, Cheng Su, who had just woken up after a night of hard work, received a call from Ling Si, who told him that he needed to quickly check his Gmail. Zimo had sent him scandalous information, saying that Ling Si was only approaching Cheng Su to sow discord between Chairman Jiang and him. Meanwhile, Chairman Jiang had received information that he had a very dangerous tumor in his brain, and his life expectancy was now very short. Because of the media information, Mr. Gu was buying a large number of shares from the future corporation, so Ling Si and Cheng Su were forced to get married earlier than planned to prolong the time. Immediately after that, Chairman Jiang and Chairman Gu went for a walk by the sea. Ling Si and Cheng Su also exchanged an intimate and romantic handshake, and after that, there was a proposal from Cheng Su. So, the two of them officially became husband and wife. As soon as they got home, Cheng Su was unexpectedly pulled by the ear from behind by a woman. It turned out that it was his mother, who had just returned from overseas after receiving the news that her son had gotten married. Miss Jun Piao asked him about Ling Si, knowing that she was the daughter of his rival, but he still married her. At the same time, Ling Si had also arrived. Miss Jun Piao introduced herself as Cheng Su's girlfriend, which made Ling Si jealous. When she found out that it was Cheng Su's mother, the two of them had a very intimate and close conversation. Meanwhile, Zimo had been taken out by boss Rixin to drown his sorrows. When they heard the news that Ling Si had married Cheng Su, they decided to drink until they were drunk. It was the first time that they had met, but it seemed like Ling Si and her mother-in-law got along very well. The two of them had just met, but they invited each other to go to a bar. At first, Ling Si was still shy, but after Miss Jun Piao pulled her in, the two of them went all out. After that, the two of them returned in a dazed state, and Ling Si was only able to reach the living room before collapsing into Cheng Su's arms. Cheng Su carried her to the room and gazed at her for a long time. The next morning, when Ling Si woke up, she found herself lying entirely in Cheng Su's arms. Just as she was about to get out of bed, he pulled her back with an affectionate look. The two of them discussed the plan to promote Mulin Town, deciding to live stream the real scenes and festival programs there. Before going to work, Ling Si also didn't forget to give him a flying kiss. Zimo and boss Rixin met again after their contest the night before. At the same time, he received the news that the Shizi Shui project had been completed and needed to be expedited. Although they were once rivals, now the two of them were working together and helping each other. Boss Rixin left, giving Zimo a sweet candy. Ling Si was preparing to go on a business trip to Mulin Town with Cheng Su. She told Bei Chen to stay at home and let her go, but due to his enthusiasm, she agreed to let him come along. They had just met each other in the lobby. Bei Chen and Secretary Jin teased each other, while their two bosses had already gotten in the car. So they began their journey to Mulin town. As soon as they arrived, everyone was taken into the town to meet Uncle Su. Chung Su introduced everyone, and also didn't forget to introduce his wife. Ling Si saw a very beautiful jade hairpin and asked Uncle Su about it. She learned that it was a local custom, that if someone gave a jade hairpin, they would be together forever. Hearing Uncle Su's words, Cheng Su gazed at Ling Si and thought for a long time. After that, everyone said goodbye and went to find the villas on the hill. It was already dark, and the two secretaries were competing to find a villa for themselves on the hill, while on their side, Cheng Su and Ling Si slowly chose a private villa. The two of them had a romantic evening by the pool. They were about to share a passionate kiss when they were unexpectedly interrupted by the two secretaries. The two clumsy young men had their bonuses deducted by their bosses for breaking their privacy. Zemo was still working hard, immersed in his work. He received care from Ri Shin, who brought him food. He was still working on the advertising campaign for Mulin Town, which was going to take place tomorrow. When Chung Su returned to his room, he didn't forget to work. By his side, there was always a companion who cared for and shared with him everything from his joys and sorrows to every difficulty in life, which felt like he had gained 100% more power. After that, Ling Si was tired, so she went to sleep first. As soon as Ling Si left, he took out his jade hairpin and completed it to give to Ling Si. The next morning, everyone arrived on time, and Cheng Su and Ling Si were ready to greet the first groups of visitors below. When everyone arrived, they were greeted by tour guides, Cheng Su and Ling Si, who were introducing the products, which were handmade handicrafts made by the local artisans. At home, Miss Jun Piao was watching her son on TV as he was live streaming. Everyone was also curious to see what other programs there were besides wood carving. Cheng Su said that there would be a lantern festival, but if that was all there was, it would be too boring, so the tourists all left. Immediately, Zemo ordered the live stream to be stopped. Back home, Cheng Su was feeling down because of the recent hardship, but by his side, there was Ling Si, who was always comforting and encouraging him. She led him to the resting area. On their side, everyone was assigning each other tasks to prepare the lanterns, without having to dismantle them as Ling Si had suggested. Perhaps she was planning a surprise for him tonight. As soon as he opened his eyes, Cheng Su was urged to quickly change his clothes and attend the festival with everyone. Stepping out of the door, they were wearing traditional outfits, which looked very good on Cheng Su and Ling Si. At the same time, the gift that he had prepared the night before, made with his own hands, was given to Ling Si, which surprised her very much. The two of them shared a kiss filled with love and emotion. After that, everyone clinked glasses to congratulate the young couple. Outside, the atmosphere was bustling as everyone was attending the Lantern Festival. At the same time, Miss Jun Piao also came to share the joy with her son. The next morning when they woke up, they both received a message about a map that his mother had drawn to guide them to the place where she, Jiang Han, and the two secretaries were sitting and enjoying tea. Immediately, the two of them got dressed and went to find it. But according to the map, it led the two of them to the top of the tower, where they saw a box. Inside the box was a painting that he had drawn when he was little, and a design for the floating island that Cheng Su's father had designed, which Chairman Gu had been looking for so many years. Ling Si advised him to take it to a safe place, but he refused and left it there because it had been there for 20 years without any problems. Downstairs, everyone was getting ready to leave. Cheng Su was offered by his older brother, Jiang Han, to take him back safely, but everyone was going home together. As soon as the car left, Jiang Han turned away, hiding something. Back at the company, Cheng Su was praised by Uncle Jing and recognized for what he had done, as well as his contribution to Mulin Town. On the other hand, when Jiang Han brought up the floating island construction project, he was opposed by his father, who told him to go and help Cheng Su instead, which made him angry and he walked out. At this time, he returned to his room and held the handmade design of the floating island that had been drawn by Nan Chuan. It turned out that while everyone was leaving, he had secretly followed the map, found the place where the design was kept, and then taken it home. He was angry that his father didn't recognize him, and it was always Cheng Su, so that night, he drank a lot. Early in the morning, the sunlight peeked through the window cracks. Ling Si was lying in Cheng Su's arms, fast asleep. Suddenly, Cheng Su's phone rang, which woke her up. Even though they were very busy, they decided to put work aside and spend the day together. They went to a beach that Cheng Su loved the most, and before long, he pulled her closer. He hugged her waist and gave her a kiss filled with sincere affection. After obtaining the floating island design, Jiang Han took it to Chairman Gu, hoping to gain his support and work together to take over the future corporation. At the same time, Jiang Han would get engaged to Bai Ya, Chairman Gu's illegitimate child, to gain his trust. Jiang Han had a conversation with Bai Ya and promised to visit the Gu family often. At the future corporation, Chairman Jiang was having a meeting with everyone. He said that now, they needed to assess their capabilities, which made the two shameless men uncomfortable, and they were truly startled. When they got home, Miss Jun Piao turned on the TV, and immediately there was a news report that the floating island ecological design had been announced by the Dingzhuang Corporation. Immediately, he went to meet Chairman Jiang, saying that the design had been blatantly stolen by the Dingzhuang Corporation. All the suspicion was now directed at Ling Si, but only Cheng Su still believed that she wasn't that kind of person. Jiang Han, after hearing the news report, went to Chairman Gu's house because he had broken his promise. When he got there, he didn't meet Chairman Gu, and he was given a lecture by the bald man, like he was a motivational speaker. When Ling Si heard the news, she immediately went to the future corporation and realized that no matter how she explained, no one would trust her. Ling Si affirmed once again that she didn't steal the design. Now, only Cheng Su still trusted her and thought that Ling Si wasn't like that. Ling Si left, going straight to the Gu family's house. At this time, Chairman Jiang didn't hide the story from the past anymore and told Cheng Su everything. That year, all three of them, Nanshuan, Chairman Gu, and Chairman Jiang, were very close, and they were once the best of brothers. The three of them discussed the aerial garden project, but they didn't receive approval from Nanchuan because the project was very risky. That was why the three of them had conflicts, and during the construction of this project, it collapsed. His father had sacrificed his life to save others. At that time, Chairman Gu had sold all of his shares in the future corporation and established the Dingzhuang Corporation. Now, he needed to try his best to move forward and not stop. When he got home, Cheng Su discovered that Ling Si had left. His mother was still by his side, comforting him, and also believing that Ling Si wasn't that kind of person. After leaving Cheng Su, Ling Si held a press conference and promoted the floating island ecological project, which impressed everyone and made them think that it was a very promising project for the future. That evening, Ling Si made a date to meet Cheng Su. As soon as they met, she taught him a lesson. On the racetrack, there are only opponents, not teammates. Those words were like her goodbye to him. This event put the future corporation on the brink of bankruptcy. The Dingzhuang Corporation had acquired 50% of the shares of the future corporation. Ling Si went straight to the corporation and became the largest shareholder of the future corporation. After receiving the news, Chairman Jiang immediately called an emergency meeting. Cheng Su spoke, hoping that Chairman Jiang would leave all of the remaining shares of the company to him. He officially became the chairman of the future corporation. On their side, Jiang Han, after learning that his father had given all the remaining shares of the company to Cheng Su, became jealous. He said that Cheng Su didn't have the ability to lead, but the result was still a negation of Chairman Jiang's words. He said that he needed to support Cheng Su well. Cheng Su wanted to talk things out clearly with Ling Si, but he received only her coldness, and she said that capital would not wait for anyone, and that he should forget the past. Jiang Han arrived at the company, and at this time, everyone was in chaos. Boss Jiang calmed them down and assigned the handover of work, and told her to quickly go and meet the person in charge of the handover at the Dingzhuang Corporation. In his office, Jiang Han sold the remaining shares that he held in the company. As soon as he got home, the father and son had a conversation with each other. Cheng Su had just received a package, and when he opened it, he saw a picture of him and Ling Si kissing at their engagement party the other day. He quietly put it on the wall, with a look of longing for the memories. After that, Cheng Su went to the company and discussed the upcoming plans, but instead, he was met with a lack of recognition and agreement with his strategies, especially the two shameless men who always opposed him. The two shameless men, Cheng Feng and Pai Ling, went to tell Chairman Gu. Cheng Su wanted everyone to give him their shares so that he could become the largest shareholder of the corporation. Taking this opportunity, Chairman Gu asked the two men to push Cheng Su down so he couldn't become chairman, and to give the position to someone from the Dingzhuang Corporation. The next morning, when the meeting ended, the two shameless men called on everyone to vote to remove Chung Su from the position of chairman and to replace him with someone else. While everyone was arguing about who to choose as the chairman of the corporation, Ling Si immediately took the position of chairman of the future corporation because she was the person who held the most shares in the company. Because of this event, everyone thought that Ling Si and Chung Su had gotten married for business. So immediately, the price of the stock plummeted. So, she and Chung Su had to organize a press conference to stabilize the situation. Right after that, both Boss Yi and Ling Si were present at the press conference. The two of them worked together very well, despite the suspicion from everyone. His older brother, Jiang Han, said that in the family, it didn't matter who held more shares because he loved and trusted her. So he had let Ling Si hold more shares than the chairman. She still ordered the bald man to continue buying a large number of shares in the future corporation, intending to completely take it over. After hearing the news, Chairman Jiang, even though his health was weak, was still very proud of his grandson's decisions. Hua Kai-jin quickly created a conflict with Bei Chen, attracting the attention of the security guards. Seizing the opportunity, Chang Su led Ling Si to run quickly into a closed room and lock the door. After saying only a few words, they kissed each other. It could be understood that the two had reconciled and understood everything about the road ahead. After Ling Si left, Chang Su texted Secretary Jin to act according to his plan. Immediately, Secretary Jin messaged everyone, telling them to quickly find a new company. Immediately, everyone in the company had intentions of leaving. Sun Yan saw the situation and stopped everyone, saying that Boss Jiang had always been good to them, and now that he was facing difficulties, everyone was leaving. Fortunately, Boss Jiang arrived and stabilized the situation, so everyone was relieved and continued working. After that, he received a message from Chang Su to go to the location as agreed. Chang Su, in disguise to avoid being discovered, asked Yang Han to short sell the future corporation, causing Chairman Gu to lose all of his capital because he had poured a large amount of capital into the company's stock. He also asked Jiang Han to create a design and said that the floating island project was actually very dangerous and unsafe. Jiang Han pretended to agree to help, but in reality, he was hiding a dark conspiracy. Ling Si suggested that Chairman Gu should send the senior managers of the Dingzhuang Corporation to manage the future corporation, and he agreed. After that, she wanted to visit her mother on her birthday, and she was very thoughtful. When preparing a gift, she remembered to bring it to her mother. As soon as she arrived, she met her mother by the beach with Uncle Zhao. When she opened the gift box, her mother really liked the gift. When Uncle Zhao saw this, he became jealous and said that he would get her a pair of diamond-studded high heels. They would definitely be more beautiful than these high heels, and as long as she said she liked him, he would do anything. Ling Si and her mother had a short conversation in the room. She curiously asked her mother who Uncle Zhao was. When she got outside, Ling Si happened to overhear Uncle Zhao's conversation, advising the person next to him not to buy the shares. At the same time, Bei Chen had brought the people sent by the Dingzhuang Corporation to manage the future corporation. The two sides had an argument, and they almost clashed. Taking that opportunity, everyone in the company resigned at the same time. In the evening, Ling Si went to Chang Su's house and saw that he still had the picture of the two of them hanging on the wall. After that, the two of them quickly sat down to eat dinner. Before they had eaten for very long, Ling Si accidentally spilled her soup on her leg. Immediately, Chang Su took her to the room and took care of her attentively and thoughtfully. Ling Si received a call from Bei Chen, saying that he was going to resign and go back to his hometown because he had made a mistake that morning. He was being criticized and fired by Chairman Gu. Fortunately, Ling Si arrived home in time. She told Bei Chen that she wanted him to work for her and also advised Chairman Gu to buy all of the shares of the future corporation. This was the best opportunity to take over the future corporation. Because of that, Bei Chen felt like he owed her a favor, promising that from now on, he would treat her like his big sister and do everything for her. Cheng Su had a phone call with the two shameless men. He knew all the things that they had done, but as long as they helped him with one thing, all their past grudges would be forgotten. When they arrived at the company, the two shameless men saw that the future corporation was on the verge of bankruptcy. So they discussed with everyone about selling off the remaining shares in the future corporation. Immediately, everyone in the company listened to them and sold all of their shares. On their side, Bei Chen reported that he had bought all of the shares in the future corporation, as she had instructed. She was negotiating the signing of a contract, under the name of the Ding Zhuang Corporation, which would return 200% of the initial capital if the project was suspended. Immediately after that, Chairman Gu called and reminded her to quickly go to the venture capital firm. At the same time, Cheng Su also arrived there, but unfortunately, only Ling Si was approved, and he had to leave silently. The Ding Zhuang Corporation was preparing for a press conference. Cheng Su quickly asked Jiang Han to post the report according to the plan. As soon as Ling Si stepped up to speak, everyone below had received the information about the report regarding the extremely serious disasters of the floating island ecological project. According to Cheng Su's plan that he had asked Jiang Han about before, immediately, Bei Chen stepped in to resolve the issue, and the press conference ended abruptly. Cheng Su was sitting and talking to Secretary Jin about the fact that he had bought a portion of the shares of the Ding Zhuang Corporation. Becoming a small shareholder of the corporation, Secretary Jin's phone unexpectedly showed that all the banks had frozen the Ding Zhuang Corporation's accounts. It turned out that Ling Si had always been secretly helping him. The meeting with the venture capital firm was also the same. After receiving the information as planned, Ling Si arrived at the location, and as she had said, she would compensate for the losses of the contract. This also meant that the last of the corporation's capital was gone. Everything seemed to be working against Chairman Gu. The shares of the future corporation had hit rock bottom, and their working capital had also run out. In desperation, he kidnapped his ex-wife, who was also Ling Si's mother. He forced her to sign a contract, forcing Mrs. Zhao to buy his debt. Cheng Su also went to Chairman Gu's house and said that he had bought a portion of the shares of the Ding Zhuang Corporation, but he was met with a mocking laugh. Immediately, Mr. Zhao appeared and with a confident tone said, "Add my shares, and it's enough, right?" He was the chairman of the venture capital firm. Chairman Gu's expression immediately changed. It turned out that Mr. Zhao had helped Ling Si by ensuring that all the banks turned their backs on the Ding Zhuang Corporation on the day that they ran out of capital. Chairman Gu was extremely angry and revealed his last resort, which was to have his ex-wife, Mrs. Qihui, be ruined. It was also because of Mr. Zhao's suggestion that she had to shoulder all the debt. Mr. Zhao grabbed his collar and warned Chairman Gu not to do anything that would affect Mrs. Qihui. At the same time, Ling Si had brought her mother. Although her mother could shoulder the debt for him, no one could shoulder his crimes. All the evidence of Chairman Gu forging Nan Chuan's seal had been discovered. This was solid evidence that was enough to send him to prison. Even though he was very angry, there was nothing he could do. He could only console his illegitimate child, telling her to be good at home and that he would be back. Before he left, Chairman Gu had one request. He wanted his illegitimate child to be kept out of this, but he had to agree to tell the whole truth about that year. That year, because he was still stubborn and carried out the aerial garden project, an accident had occurred. He was facing the risk of going to prison, and at this time, only Mrs. Mei Lan, his current stepwife, could help him. He was forced to divorce Mrs. Qihui and marry Mrs. Mei Lan. From then on, he would not only avoid prison, but his career would also advance rapidly. As soon as he finished speaking, it was also the moment when Mrs. Qihui fainted because of severe psychological trauma. Before he left, he only had time to tell his daughter and wife to live well, and told her to hand over the management of the company to Jiang Han. Inside the room, she called Jiang Han, informed him of the situation, and he comforted her, saying that he would be there soon. Meanwhile, Ling Si's mother, because she had just experienced a shock, had temporarily lost her memory. After that, Jiang Han came to pick up Bei Ya, and with a few flattering words, he learned that Chairman Gu had told her to take care of his daughter and take over the corporation. Meanwhile, the doctor had diagnosed Mrs. Qihui's condition and said that she would need to be treated for a long time. Because he was worried about the situation, Mr. Zhao said that he would pay for the entire hospital to take care of her, so that Mrs. Qihui could have the best space to heal. Cheng Su also promised to accompany her everywhere to get treatment. As soon as he finished speaking, he received a phone call and had to go to the company immediately. At the same time, Mrs. Qihui was no longer in her hospital bed. When they arrived at the corporation, both Chairman Jiang and Cheng Su were very surprised to see that Jiang Han had become the acting chairman of the company. Because of this event, Chairman Jiang and Cheng Su knew that the person who had stolen the design was Jiang Han. The doctor told the two of them about the condition of the tumor in Chairman Jiang's head. Jiang Han blamed everything on Cheng Su. He said that because of Cheng Su, he had ended up in this state. All over the media, there were reports that Ling Si had disappeared, and all of her shares in the corporation had been transferred to Cheng Su. He officially became the second largest shareholder in the corporation. In the days that followed, he called Secretary Jin many times and searched for her everywhere, but he found nothing. In a meeting at the corporation, it was announced that the corporation's next project would be to renovate Yushan Street, but the place was having problems with negotiations. The people there were adamant about not agreeing to the construction. Many investors had come to persuade the people, but they had all failed. In addition, Ling Si was now present in Yushan town, so the thugs couldn't get hold of this contract. The Dingchuan Corporation also wanted to get hold of this project quickly, so everyone had a meeting to plan. Cheng Su himself would be the one to take over and persuade everyone. Also, according to Zhang Han's pressure, if Cheng Su failed, he would be fired. Boss Ri Xin had been waiting for Zemo for 20 minutes. Because her family wanted her to take over the family company overseas, she might have to go abroad. The only reason she would stay was Zemo. When asked for his opinion, he just evaded the question, saying that he didn't want to influence her decision, and he pulled her away to go eat. Cheng Su had handed over the work at the company to Secretary Jin. He would personally go to Mulin Town tomorrow. Sun Nian had helped Cheng Su send the Mulin Town project proposal many times after being rejected, but this time the result was no different. Zhang Han rejected the proposal. At the same time, he received a call from Bai Ya. Because she was worried about him, Bai Ya had made food and brought it to him. It was truly a wonderful gesture, but who knows if it was given to the right person. Zhang Han said that he would be busy for the next few days and couldn't visit his uncle, and that his uncle needed to take care of his health. He visited Uncle Jiang more often than his own biological son, Jiang Han. Ling Si and Qi Hui were talking on their side, unbeknownst to Cheng Su. When the conversation between the two of them had just ended, and the two of them were leaving, Cheng Su arrived. He truly had bad luck. On their side, the multi-level marketing guy was introducing the Yushan Town renovation project. It seemed like a dream. He was persuading everyone smoothly, and everyone was falling into his trap. Then Bai Chen appeared out of nowhere and ruined Loudmouth's plan. Everyone didn't really trust Bai Chen, until Cheng Su appeared and won everyone's trust. With his knowledge, he found serious flaws in this project. Cheng Su could be said to have turned it into an opportunity. When Loudmouth threw a handful of sand, Cheng Su hugged and shielded Ling Si. It turned out that this Loudmouth multi-level marketing guy was a subordinate of the two shameless men, Cheng Feng and Pai Ling. At first, Cheng Feng and Pai Ling were arrogant, not knowing who had touched their subordinate. Cheng Su wanted to go to Ling Si's house, but she refused. Fortunately, because his clothes were dirty from the sand earlier, she agreed to let him go to Mr. Zhao's house to borrow an outfit. The two of them had a short talk, and then they went for a walk. They hadn't gone far when they met Bai Chen, Qi Hui, and Ling Si. Perhaps because of the outfit, Qi Hui mistook Cheng Su for Mr. Zhao. While Mr. Zhao had been trying his best to get Qi Hui to recognize him, he was unsuccessful. Because of that, Cheng Su pretended to be Mr. Zhao and went to Ling Si's house to have a meal. Bai Chen's task was to buy books for Ling Si's mother. As soon as he lined up, he attracted everyone's attention because of his handsome looks. And a girl took a picture of him. When they got home, the three of them sat down and talked. Ling Si also revealed that the reason she came to Yushan Town this time was to help her mother regain her memories and get treatment. Mr. Zhao was jealous of Cheng Su because he was receiving attention from Qi Hui, but she had already finished preparing dinner, and everyone quickly sat down at the table. Everything was fine until she put a lot of chili peppers on Cheng Su's plate. Because he couldn't eat chili peppers while Mr. Zhao could eat them very well, this upset her. Because of that, Mr. Zhao told him to leave. This wasn't the way. When he got outside, he was sad and quietly left and called Zemo, asking him to find the best doctor for Qi Hui. Mr. Zhao saw that he was leaving and also saw him off for a bit. He saw Ling Si coming out of the house. Because he wanted to stay, he pretended to have a stomachache, which made her take him back to Mr. Zhao's room. Inside the room, he was reluctant to leave her. His thoughtful gaze seemed to draw her attention, but she just gently stroked his hair and told him to sleep early. At the same time, he received a call from Zemo, saying that he had found a method to help treat Ling Si's mother's illness. As soon as he hung up, he received information that the second in command of the Li Corporation was mocking Ri Xin. He quickly asked his secretary to find out everything about this guy to protect his little crush. At this time, Zhang Han had caught the two shameless men to extract information. Even though he threatened to bring their criminal evidence to the authorities, the information was still zero. Immediately, he let the two go and handed over all the evidence to the authorities. It was truly bad luck for the two shameless men. The next morning, the uncle and nephew talked. Now Mr. Zhao also had the feeling of heartbreak because he was afraid that one day, Xu Huai would never recognize him as the Mr. Zhao of the past, but would recognize Chang Su. So once again, he told him to leave quickly. As soon as he finished speaking, he showed his uncle the recovery plan for Qi Hui, after carefully researching the treatment plan that Chang Su had found. Now, to cure Qi Hui's illness, they needed to take her outside and help her regain trust in the outside world, not just treat her with medicine. This would be the fastest and best method, and Chang Su would also stay here in the role of Mr. Zhao. Those things were not accepted by Mr. Zhao. Once again, Chang Su was kicked out. Just as he reached the door, he received a message from Zimo. He was allowed to stay again and go to a cafe with Ling Si. At the same time, after a night of queuing, Bei Chen had finally bought the books but was still being followed by the girl who took his picture. Bei Chen was also given a free ticket to the book signing event, which was currently very expensive online. Taking that opportunity, the two of them went home and planned to take Qi Hui to that book signing. Mr. Zhao was taking Qi Hui to eat at a roadside stall when Chang Su and Ling Si returned and brought her a gift that she really liked. Although she liked it, when they mentioned going out to the book signing, her expression changed, and she refused to go to the book signing. Then, she ran home. On their side, Chairman Jiang had a short conversation with Sun Yan and decided to compensate 10 times the amount. In Yushan town, everyone had also received this news. When Ling Si and Chang Su heard this information, they were very surprised and asked which corporation could afford such a large amount of money. But both Ling Si and Chang Su were determined to protect Yushan town and still kept to the original plan. Bei Ya was being harassed by a pervert. He taunted her that she used to be Chairman Gu's daughter, but now she was nothing. He told her to go with him and be obedient, and he would treat her well, but she was very stubborn and didn't listen. The pervert was hit, and at the same time, Zhang Han and his Porsche arrived, just like in a movie. He protected her and apologized for being late. The two of them got into the car and held hands tightly in his Porsche. Zimo's secretary gave him the completed report, as he had requested. Boss Ri Xin arrived and knew all the things that Zimo had done to protect her. Because of that, she was very touched. Once again, she asked him about her decision to go abroad. Zimo said he didn't want to influence her decision. As soon as he finished speaking, Ri Xin left, but unexpectedly, he picked up a stone and threw it straight at Boss Ri Xin's head, making her faint. Immediately after that, he took her to the hospital, and she was diagnosed with only minor injuries. Zimo returned to the room and attentively cared for her. This touched Ri Xin and made her decide to stay and not go abroad. Meanwhile, Chang Su and Ling Si had arrived at the book signing, but the two of them quickly left and went to their familiar beach. Chang Su told her that he had been looking for her all this time and apologized for not being by her side when she needed him most. A tight hug from him was like an apology for all his mistakes, and from now on, he would always be by her side. They returned to Yushan town. Chang Su was proposing a plan to renovate Yushan town. He promised to renovate the old houses for free, for everyone without them having to move, but no one believed Chang Su. And once again, he failed. Miss Jun Piao ran into Bei Chen, who was taking a walk. She forced him to take her to Chang Su and Ling Si. But after she used her ultimate technique, calling him a scoundrel, which attracted everyone's attention, he was forced to take her to where the two of them were. At the same time, Chang Su was entrusted by the people to renovate the old houses in Yushan town. Being handsome was truly an advantage. Soon after, he completed the renovation of the first house, and everyone wanted him to help renovate their houses. Ri Xin had stabilized, and she pretended that she didn't need Zimo, but he still stayed by her side and gave her a tight hug and a long kiss. So after many episodes of waiting, this couple was finally in love. Bei Chen had brought Miss Jun Piao to the place. As soon as she met her son, she gave him a painful ear pinch. After talking, Miss Jun Piao understood the condition of Ling Si's mother, so she was very sympathetic. Qi Hui also prepared a gift for him, which was a jacket. Unfortunately, the person who received it was Chang Su, not Mr. Zhao. After that, Miss Jun Piao took Qi Hui shopping. Jiang Han was becoming more and more ruthless. He was determined not to let his father die, not because he wanted his father to live long with him, but because he wanted to see the results and his father's recognition. After meeting his father, he drank a lot. On their side, Bei Chen had caught the young man who was sneaking in to look at Cheng Su's design. When he caught him, Cheng Su didn't criticize him but let him see the design and asked for his feedback. That evening, Ri Xin took Zimo to meet her brother. At first, he refused, but out of love for his sister and seeing her happiness with Zimo, he agreed to let them be together. After meeting his father, Jiang Han drank a lot. When he got home, fortunately, Bei Ya was there to take care of him. As soon as he woke up, he received a call from a construction worker at the Mulin Town construction site. Even though the worker complained about their health due to the magnetic field, and that the project was very dangerous, he still told everyone to continue working, or they wouldn't receive any pay. Cheng Su and Ling Si were still trying their best to perfect the design. When they took a break, their eyes met, and they just wanted to look at each other for a long time. They were about to kiss, when Mr. Zhao suddenly opened the door, ruining their private moment. Cheng Su had stayed up all night researching the structure for his project, but he still hadn't achieved anything. He was too tired, so he went back to sleep. When he went out of the room, he saw Ling Si sitting alone on the sofa. When he ran over to check on her, she gave him a kiss that boosted his energy by 100%. That evening, Jiang Han had a private meeting with team leader Meng to give him some money. At the same time, Cheng Su and Ling Si had a date and happened to see them. So, they knew that the person who paid 10 times the compensation was Jiang Han. The two of them didn't let it interrupt their date, and they happily enjoyed a warm dinner. The next morning, Jiang Han was driving Bei Ya in his pod. As soon as he drove Bei Ya home, he received a phone call from Su Nian. The progress was going very well, and the deadline for Cheng Su's report was coming up. If he didn't submit it, he would definitely lose his position. As soon as he got home, Bei Ya was assigned by her mother to take care of the dog. Her mother was too tired of it. Bei Ya remembered her father's instructions. You must take care of it and keep it safe. As soon as she opened the collar to bathe the dog, Sipa, she discovered that it contained a USB drive. Out of curiosity, she opened it and discovered that it contained evidence of the transaction between Jiang Han and Chairman Gu, as well as the floating island design. The last days of the old year were passing by peacefully for the whole family. Today was New Year's Eve, and the whole family gathered together for a warm meal. Ling Si and Cheng Su. After finding out that everyone was at Yushan Town, the three of them went there together. Everyone was busily cleaning up to prepare for the new year. Unexpectedly, Cheng Su met Zimo and Ri Xin. They had just seen Ling Si after a long time. Mr. Huang took advantage of the moment and tried to hug Ling Si, but Cheng Su and Ri Xin stopped him. Ling Si and Cheng Su invited the two of them to stay there for the new year. Team leader Meng criticized his Porsche for being ugly, and Zimo took the opportunity to brag about the advanced technology in his car. In it, he mentioned the magnetic dampening technology. After hearing that keyword, Cheng Su realized that his design was incomplete because he lacked this technology. Immediately, he went into the room and started working, and the results were successful as he had hoped. He had helped everyone so much, so he was loved by everyone. They gave him gifts and even tried to set him up with someone. At the same time, Mr. Zhao was sitting next to Qihui. Qihui was very sad because the fireworks festival wouldn't be held in Yushan Town this year. Mr. Zhao was also very sad and talked about the memories from that year with Cheng Su. That year, on Qihui's birthday, he and she had a date, but unfortunately, as soon as she left the house, she had an accident. Gu Haihang was the one who took her to the hospital. For so many years, he had been regretting that if he had arrived earlier and picked up Qihui, then maybe things could have changed. Cheng Su gave him advice. It was time to organize the date that was 30 years overdue. The whole family went to shop for the new year. Everyone was busily and happily buying the most beautiful things for themselves and the people around them. Everywhere was filled with the traditional red colors of the New Year holiday, except for Mr. Zhao, who was still at home with Qihui. The news reported that Mr. Zhao had decided to use the venture capital of his corporation to invest in small towns and rural areas like Yushan Town, because there was someone very important to him there. Everyone had bought many gifts and distributed them to everyone in the neighborhood. Cheng Su also met the young man who had snuck into his room the other day, who was preparing to go home because he hadn't been able to get an interview. He was very kind and gave him an opportunity. He told him to go to the Dingzhuang Corporation and say that he was recommended by Cheng Su. He would get an interview. The young man was grateful and thanked him very much. Ling Si and Cheng Su continued to walk hand in hand to everyone's houses. On their side, Zhang Han was still busy with work at the corporation. He received a call that his father's health was getting worse. Feeling sad, he went home. By his side, Bei Ya was always there to accompany and share with him. Today was the new year, and the whole family was gathering to have a family meal. Mr. Zhao generously gave out lucky red envelopes to everyone. Then, everyone went outside to welcome the first moments of the new year. At first, Qiu Hui was still afraid and didn't dare to go. But with Mr. Zhao's comfort, she closed her eyes and followed his guidance. It turned out that he had prepared a surprise for her. It was a very romantic firework display. The fireworks festival that he had missed 30 years ago had finally arrived. Everyone had a partner except for Secretary Jin and Bei Chen, who were still alone. Cheng Su promised to love her for the rest of his life. No matter what, even if their hair turned gray and they lost their teeth, his love for her would never change. The moment the fireworks went off was also the moment that the two of them shared a sweet kiss and would be together forever. The next morning, as soon as they woke up, the two of them kissed each other. Ling Si had just gone outside to help her mother, when she was truly surprised to see that her mother had regained her memory and was cured. She had called her daughter for the first time after a very long time. She clearly remembered and called out everyone's names, especially Mr. Zhao, whom she had recognized. Not only that, she also gave him a kiss that would probably keep Mr. Zhao from sleeping all night. Zhang Han and Bei Ya had just woken up after a night of lovemaking, and he received a call. The people had approved Cheng Su's plan, and he had failed once again. Even though he was angry, there was nothing he could do. Zhang Han angrily left, but Bei Ya stopped him. To keep him, she gave him the USB drive containing his evidence. But he still didn't care and left, which caused her to be immersed in pain. Bei Ya only had time to call Cheng Su and report that Zhang Han had taken Chairman Zhang out of the hospital. That rebellious son had taken him to an underground base in Mulin town that he had built a long time ago. Immediately, he called Su Nian and asked her to help him. After searching for a while, she found his base, but because there were too many guards, she could only send the location to Cheng Su. That rebellious son showed his father his accomplishments that Yi Nanchuan still hadn't been able to achieve. In his mind, he was still bitter because it was because of Nanchuan that he had lost his beloved mother. At this time, he didn't hide it anymore and told him the truth. That year, it was him and Chairman Gu who had secretly asked Nanchuan for investment and had built the aerial garden project. It was too risky a project, and by the time Yi Nanchuan had found out, it was too late. All of their wealth had been poured into that project. That year, Zhang Han's mother, because she was worried about him, had come to visit. Right then, the aerial garden collapsed. Yi Nanchuan had died saving her. For many years, he had been living in remorse. He was in the wrong towards Jun Piao, Cheng Su, and even him. Zhang Han said his final words. "I will not hate you," and then Mr. Zhang took his last breath. He decided to go outside and surrender. Everyone was present to share their condolences. They sent flowers to Mr. Zhang, wishing him peace in the afterlife. Time flew by, and it was now 5 years later. At this time, the two of them had a handsome son, and the whole family was having a press conference in front of everyone. The floating island ecological project had met the conditions and would officially begin construction. Mulin and Yushan towns would also be the first two towns to be built in 3 months. This is where the story ends. Don't forget to like and subscribe to not miss out on more amazing videos. For now, goodbye, and until next time, bye.